Are we doing enough to help Singaporeans cope with higher prices? Let us start by looking at the reasons for high inflation over the last 2 years. And these reasons are certainly not unique to Singapore. For more than a decade before COVID, global inflation was generally stable, hovering at around 4% per annum. Singapore enjoyed relatively stable inflation too, and in most years it was lower than global inflation. But in 2021, prices in global foods, goods, energy markets rose quickly as strong demand came up against constrained supply due to pandemic-related restrictions. Then, the Russia-Ukraine war broke out in early 2022. The two countries are major suppliers of key commodities like oil and gas, fertilizer, and wheat. And this brought about a further surge in prices. Many countries also saw a surge in demand for domestic services and did not have sufficient workers to meet the demand. These are the key drivers of inflation everywhere. And Singapore, like all other countries, felt the impact too. Even so, inflation in Singapore did not reach the peaks seen in several parts of the world. And one reason was effective monetary policy. MAS tightened monetary policy 5 consecutive times starting in October 2021. And this meant allowing the Singapore dollar to appreciate more quickly, which helped to shield us against the sharp spike in imported inflation. Had MAS not acted, core inflation for the whole of 2023 would have been 6.6% instead of 4.2%. Over the last 10 years, the average price of a 4-room BTO flat in non-mature estates has remained relatively stable, even as median household incomes increased. So in real terms, the affordability of such BTO flats has in fact improved. We also track real wages closely. As members are aware, real wage growth was negative last year. But we know that employers many of them are complaining about shortage of workers and higher wage costs, especially in services. So it's not negative across the board. Some workers are still getting real wage increases, and at the household level, there was real median income growth on a per capita basis, per household member basis. And this year, while inflation is moderating, we recognize that prices are still relatively high, and there are continued pressures for families and individuals. And that's why I had enhanced the assurance package in the budget. We have designed and sized the support of the enhancements carefully. There's something for everyone, regardless of age, property type, or income. But we also don't want to inadvertently stimulate demand too much and push up prices, something which Ms. Fumiha cautioned against. So the support is targeted and tilted towards those with less. I understand that some groups will feel that the help extended is still not enough. But I hope everyone can appreciate the bigger picture. We are going through a rough patch of higher prices due to forces well beyond our control. We are not the only country facing these difficulties. The government will do everything we can to help households and businesses get through this rough patch.